Well, I'd like to recommend listeners to go to the 2012 FBI Touchstone document, their training guidelines, where in paragraph 1 it says that even though an individual is affiliated with a known terrorist organization, you're basically not allowed to assume that that person himself might be a terrorist.
That's funny. Sorry.
That's why the FBI seems to be having trouble connecting the dots with these kind of investigations.
Yeah, I talked to some folks that were there on the ground in Orlando, and they call them all in the briefing rooms, military, FBI, you name it, and they tell them, you are not investigating Islamists. You are not investigating the mosque. You are not to use the word Muslim. This is not an investigation of Muslims. And there's like 100 people in a room with Homeland Security from Jay Johnson up there, one of his lackeys, telling him this. This is ridiculous.
And see, that's what I mean about an abrogation of the Constitution. Our founding fathers, the geniuses that they were, set up a checks and balance system. Do you realize how far from due process we are when we have one branch, the executive branch of the government, dictating what every other branch shall do, including law enforcement, and intruding themselves into the law enforcement arena with policies that are subjective, that have no oversight?
It's totally dictatorial. I mean, you can get away with anything. That's how Hillary can do all this illegal stuff, is because the executive's covering her butt.
Well, I was investigated 9 times by my own agency for doing my job. I took the oath to defend our country from threat, both foreign and domestic. I took it very seriously, and it got me in a lot of trouble. But thank God I was able to survive it and retire honorably. And that's why I'm telling my story now, because my vow is still on active duty.
That's right. Let me ask you this question. The people persecuting you, were they doing it just to climb the ladder? Or was it this sick leftist love affair with anything anti-freedom? I mean, for me, it's a form of Stockholm Syndrome meets bondage. I mean, it's kind of like 50 Shades of Grey taken to the next level. There's this weird infatuation, I know, with liberal women to go have, jihadi husbands and be slapped around. I mean, I don't understand it.
There's 2 factors. It's ideological for sure, but there's another one I think is deeper, and that is fear. The fear of doing the right thing. Fear of loss. If you do the right thing, you might suffer loss. And that fear keeps people from doing what they know is right. In other words, it keeps them from fulfilling their vow. Fear is a very powerful and destructive force.
Oh, boy, is it.
And
I can't live under it. My only fear is that I'm going to roll over and be a jellyfish. I only beat myself up, and I'm serious. I wish I could find a way to not feel guilty that I'm not doing enough. I am so unhappy right now. I have never been this unhappy. I should be happy. We're waking a lot of folks up, but I am just seeing the president get up today and blame, quote, Americans. He said Americans. We've got to keep guns out of the hands of Americans like this. This guy wasn't an American.
No, he wasn't. He was a citizen of our country, but he was not an American in the constitutional definition, which leads to another issue, the argument.
That's right. I mean, if he's pledged allegiance to ISIS, he's pledged allegiance to a foreign power. Deport his ass.
That's right. It's assimilation. We hear about it a lot, as though it's Americans' fault that Muslims can't assimilate or won't. It's not our fault. They have to make the choice to assimilate, but they are taught that it is the abrogation, a violation of Sharia law to assimilate to a non-Islamic culture. They're not here to assimilate. They didn't come here to learn to like hot dogs and watermelon. They came here with the understanding that if they come here and settle in a country and implement Islam and Sharia law, that they will receive the same reward in heaven as the men with the guns. And that is an Islamic theological fact. They know it when they come here, that if they promote Islam and the implementation of Sharia law, not the U.S. Constitution, that they will receive a reward in heaven from Allah.
Yeah, the left thinks they're going to assimilate, and they're totally out of their minds.
No, the harder they try to make them, the worse it will get.
Well, I'm not assimilating to the leftist garbage either, and I'm not assimilating to jihad garbage either. I'm not going under any of this, and I'm telling you, it is really getting bad, and I'm seeing it all over Austin, and I'm seeing the left cuckold to this whole deal, and I'm not going to put up with it. Philip,
if Okay, one last thing. If we don't face it voluntarily, we will ultimately face it involuntarily. It's inevitable one way or the other. We have to deal with this from a constitutional perspective.
Well, let me ask you this then, because I've got other guests coming in, but I want to invite you back. In 60 seconds, how do we counter this?
Become familiar with the Constitution and become familiar with Sharia law. Arm yourselves with information. Gain a mastery of this subject. You have to be a part of it. And then go back and read the Declaration of Independence. What it called us to do as citizens is to be in control of our own government. We have the right to do it. We need to do it. Now is the time, not tomorrow, now.
Philip, we look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you for going through all that persecution to get this book out. I talked to Joseph Farah earlier this week. He's very, very proud of this book and that they've published it and the courage you've had. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, everyone, for listening as well.
Let's bring in the other guys now that were just over in Europe for 10 days covering Bilderberg, the very globalists that are engineering all this. I mean, these people are just, and again, this whole Islamic invasion, I don't want to obsess on it all day. I have to, because they're blaming guns and the Second Amendment and America and Americana. By name, Obama is blaming us. So here's the deal. You're not blaming me and my family, you piece of filth. You're not going to gut what's left of the country and have extrajudicial no-gun buy list. I'm not putting up with it. People say, oh, well, what are you going to do? Let me tell you, we're going to do a lot. We mean business. And Obama doesn't look too happy these days because they bit off more than they can chew. Let me tell you something. They're not getting away with this. And we have to understand no matter what color we are or where we're from or what we stand for, religiously or whatever, we should stand for free speech. And I'm not here to just hate Muslims. They're bullied by their own system as well. But I didn't opt in to be under your system. And my daughters and my son didn't either, okay? So it's not happening. And I'm not going to go along with a police state either that's built up to supposedly counter you, but we never counter what you're doing. So there is a clash of civilizations taking place. We are being played off against each other. I recognize that people in Islamic countries are going to fall victim of this. There is a larger game plan. But if we can't even address Islam and radical forms that are really orthodox, then there's no way to turn this around. And you guys were over there in Europe. You went to the refugee camps. You got run off from them. You did a great job. Petraeus ran away from you. Amazing job. Josh Owens and, of course, Rob Dew back here in the United States.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular the way the German people especially, they are divided. And it's a harsh division between anti-migration and people who think it's okay and they can take as many as they want because they kept saying, we're a rich nation, we're a rich nation. And they just don't see where's the money going to come from. You're already taxed,
Well, it's their religion. I mean, they were brainwashed under the Nazis. Mm-hmm. The brainwashing just continued right after that.
Yeah.
The Germans are just totally brainwashed.
Nice people, but they definitely believe that they can handle all this stuff. Now, Czech Republic, where we were, we met a lady at who ran a church there, and she said they've only taken in 500 migrants. 500 migrants in the last, 3 years.
Well, that's because they lie on the news, but yeah, it's lesser numbers there.
Yeah.
Well, look, different leaders in Eastern Europe say this is a globalist invasion. They know what it is.
Right.
They say this is a Bilderberg invasion to break our countries down.
Exactly. And that was one of the big talking points going into Bilderberg was what they're going to do. I think it was how do we keep this migrant invasion going and couch it differently and to make the people accept that we need more migrants. And I don't think they do. I don't think they need any more migrants. I don't think they're helping. They don't allow them to work. They don't allow them to even come in and be productive citizens. So I don't know why you're bringing them into your country. I don't know what purpose that serves.
So they can blow stuff up and shoot people, and then you can take their liberties away. What do you think's going on, Josh?
Well, we spoke to a guy just outside of Nuremberg on the way to Dresden, and he was upset basically that on the streets people weren't accepting they weren't accepting things that he was doing. So he was like, I'm glad that I get free stuff. I'm glad that I don't have to work. I'm glad that, I get food and I don't have to pay for anything, but I hate this place and I don't want to be here anymore. And I think it was evident that he felt that he was supposed to come over here with open arms, and then he was just supposed to be given everything, also with people on the street giving him a positive attitude also to reinforce his ideals.
Kissing his ass isn't enough.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's got a bad attitude. Look, when humans have stuff too good too long, they decide to destroy themselves. That's what this is. This is suicide. By the way, the move to take our guns is so horrible that I've almost gotten conditioned to it. didn't even cover this. Kit Daniels wrote about it yesterday at Infowars.com. Here it is, Rolling Stone. Why it's time to repeal the Second Amendment. It needs to be replaced because it's outdated, a threat to liberty, and a suicide pact. So we bring in the jihadis, we let them kill us, we blame America, and then take our liberties, just like Europe's done. Truly, truly sickening. You know, Josh Owens to infiltrate the Muslims has grown his big beard, but I'm told that thing is coming off this weekend.
It's coming off this weekend. It has to. It's got to be done.
Red beard. What does your girlfriend think, or fiance?
She's ready for it to come off.
I'm ready for it to come off.
It's coming off.
Let me just say, I love you. You're a great editor, great camera guy, funny guy. I love you to death. That's why I don't know how you can have a beard like that. Are you trying to be Grizzly?
Well, if my parents are watching this, they would love what you just said.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is everyone like beating you up about it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we were in Germany, I just kept getting called Taliban constantly. So
we started calling him Jihadi Josh. That was our nickname for him.
It is a little, oh my God, dude. I'm sorry. Anyways, you've got like your Duderino, you know, or the dude for short.
This is probably coming off too. My wife doesn't like it either. Women don't like the beard. So, whatever.
It looks good for you.
I look like I'm 15 without it. You know, when I shave off, I'm just so baby.
Piece of work, dude. Hey, let's get serious though. They don't want to come for our guns. No one wants your guns. They're just all over the news saying ban them.
Right.
But everything's fine. And Obamacare is free, even though new reports out, AP, that Obamacare premiums are exploding again.
Yeah. And here's the thing. There's over 20 million guns, over 200 million rounds of ammunition. It's probably even more than that that the American people
that's a way to persecute the American people. If they can ban it, they can raise hell against it.
I mean, if it was such a problem, there would be mass shootings every week. But it's not.
Mass shootings are down since 1992.
Exactly.
Overall shootings are down 60-something%. They know that. They just hype the daylights. Listen.
Yeah.
It's like this alligator at Disney World grabbing the kid.
Yeah.
The same alligator they think chased a kid last week. They didn't do anything about it.
Right.
Are you going to... Now, listen. Is there a perception now that alligators are everywhere? Even though it's super rare, it's like great white sharks, like I always say. But if a great white shark attacks a beach, they close it for a week.
Right.
Even though it might happen once a year on a whole eastern seaboard or western seaboard.
Yeah, exactly. With that alligator thing, what they've done is protect the alligator so nobody hunts it. They're not allowed to hunt them, only in certain areas. And so they mass populate.
And they've been killing everybody's dogs and cats, and now it's time for your kids.
That's what they do. They're a giant lizard that eats things. I mean, it's terrible what happened to this kid.
And by the way, it's its culture. It's its culture to eat children. So I think you should go and feed your children to the alligators at Disney World.
Well, they find alligators all the time eating dead bodies and stuff in canals, and they're always pulling out half-eaten dead bodies out of canals in Florida. It happens.
And they're always spitting it. Oh, we think the person fell in.
No.
It's not the alligator that did it. Little eyes sticking out. Oh, not me.
And it's weird. It happened in, Disney World, like one of these really...
You go to Mexico, they got signs everywhere going, do not swim here. And it's just a picture of an alligator or a crocodile.
They had a lady...
Dumbass tourists get in.
There's a lady who got killed in Australia. They went swimming in a beach where they said, don't go swimming. She went swimming with her friend. She gets pulled under and dies.
Yeah, 20-foot saltwater crocky.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like, hello, I'm liberal crocodile. I love you. It's like, rah.
Crocodile doesn't care.
All these people getting eaten by mountain lions in California, remember, for years?
Yeah.
And they go, don't shoot them, don't shoot them. They were like eating women in their backyards.
That's why they were jogging.
Finally, they start killing them, and they stop doing it.
Yeah, because they realize there's a consequence, and they move on.
You don't see mountain lions eating people in Texas. Unless you're down in Big Bend where they know everybody's disarmed. They go to the gun-free zone.
Yeah, exactly.
The mountain lions go to the gun-free zone to eat people. I've seen one on our ranch in East Texas and one in my backyard in Dripping Springs. Ran off before I get a photo, but they don't attack people there because they're scared.
We're getting coyotes. In my neighborhood, we've got coyotes.
That's in the middle of Austin.
Yeah, I've seen them running around because they run through the canals. They've used the canals.
You've got to get low-velocity 22 that you don't hear. Yeah. Just take them out.
Yeah. They do it at night, and they're
target.
I saw one running. I'm like, that's a big cat. Whoa, it's a freaking coyote. I saw it turn its head.
We've reached the show generator, my lord. You may start your landing. Hour 4, 70 seconds away at Infowars.com/show. If you're watching this transmission or listening to it, you're the resistance. Touching the end of his nose, that means he's brought his intellect into hyperwarp. Yes. There he is. His Britannic Majesty, your Majesty. These guys are going to ride shotgun with you 20 minutes into the hour. So am I, Paul. But I know you've got a lot to talk about. I bet Milo, that has been banned off Twitter and banned from speaking in Florida by the police because he was going to speak out against the Muslims that just killed a whole bunch of gay people. I mean, I tell you, we predicted they'd bring them in, let them attack, and then do this, and they're really doing it.